America's best days are yet to come. That's because conservatives like you know and live the values our great country was built on. The Heritage Foundation exists to make sure your voice is heard in the D.C. swamp each day, shining the light on a bright future. The Heritage Foundation stands for your values and won't give up the fight because they know you never will. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. So a list was sent to me this morning. I think it was just an email I get from multiple website news organizations. I think it was the Jewish Insider, but I get some from non-Jewish ones, you know. But in any event, I got it, and it had a long list of people who were going to Qatar, where Qatar was paying for first-class travel and hotels and meals, and some people were actually getting paid a ton to speak at Qatar, to interview other people at Qatar. Mr. Producer, what do you think Qatar would pay me to support Qatar? It would be tens of millions of dollars, don't you think? Do you agree with me? If we can just shut this Levin the hell up, we give him 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. There are lowlives and sleeballs and grifters in this business who would take it in 2 seconds. Not me. Not me. And so I look at this list. I don't even know if it's a complete list. It's a very long list. Top business executives. More politicians, podcasters like Tucker Carlson, people in various think tanks, people I know who are even Israel supporters, some considered hawks, and they're really working really hard as Qatar to buy as many people as they can. That's what they're doing. They've got the Formula One race in Qatar. So I got to thinking about this, America. You and I are getting screwed big time here. Mr. and Mrs. America. Now, why do I say that? How does this help any of you? Many of you are in the car, you're in your truck, you're going home after a long week. Can't wait for the weekend. You've got people in business, in politics, in these Washington think tanks, podcasters, so-called self-appointed influencers, who go over to Qatar. It's a Potemkin country. They see all the flashy stuff, all the wealth, all the enormous money. They don't go to the back streets and see over 1 million indentured servants, people from other parts of the third world who do all the work in Qatar. They just see the Lamborghinis and the really fancy malls and the Van Cleef and Arpels, jewelry and all that. Wow, this is just great. Unbelievable. And they're over there talking with each other, playing golf with each other, playing tennis with each other, watching Formula One races with each other. CNN is over there. Oh, they're all over. They're having a blast. Again, I know some of them. Some of them are my acquaintances. A couple of them are friends. Most of them are not. Vast majority are not. All walks of life. Now, do you think Qatar's doing that because they really want to improve American business or American sports? They really want to improve America's colleges and universities. That's why they pour tens of billions of dollars into our schools and so forth. Qatar really it's sort of a massive philanthropic operation. It wants to give us stuff and trillions of dollars and on. What's this all about? And how does it benefit you, Mr. and Mrs. America? Not one damn bit. People are getting enormously rich off of Qatar. People are having all kinds of luxuries thrown at them by Qatar. They're having a blast. They're having the time of their lives. This is what revolutions are made of. Now, what am I talking about? Our ruling class and our elites are being paid enormous sums of money, are being treated to unbelievable luxuries. Some of them are having investments made in their businesses, loans are paid off. Others of them are getting enormous fees for going to Qatar and speaking at Qatar. You've got entertainers going over there. You've got sports figures going over there. It's just unbelievable. It's it's not a winter wonderland, of course. It's a desert wonderland. It's a Disneyland. And this is a country that spends more money on terrorism than any other country on the face of the earth. This is a country that provides money as fuel to the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood, with its different tributaries, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Al-Qaeda. They support the Taliban and ISIS and so forth and so on. Qatar, as I've told you many times, people in New York in particular, but all over the country should pay attention to this. Qatar, who gave a fake job, salary, an apartment, and protection to KSM, who within 2 years later would be the mastermind behind 9/11. And when the FBI was on his trail, as I've told you, they helped scare him out of the country, where he decapitated Daniel Pearl of the Wall Street Journal on film, you remember? And then he led 15 out of 19 of the hijackers. Well, 19, but 15 were Saudis. I'll deal with them another day. Right now I'm focused on Qatar, because Qatar now is brazen and out in the open and in your face about what they're doing. And then when you apparently talk to members of the royal family, if they'll let you talk to them, they just lie. They just blatantly lie. We had nothing to do with that. These are all lies being told about us. And now we have influencers, podcasters, the Carlson types, the zombies of Qatar. And others now, members of Congress, members of think tanks, the elites, the ruling class, who are all now in the back pocket of Qatar. The idea that the Jews have all the money, I mean, that's been disproven, hasn't it? It's the Arabs have all the money. I keep hearing they're giving us trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. The crown prince, the inbred from Saudi Arabia, said, no, I'm going to increase the money I'm bringing into the United States from $600 billion to $1 trillion. Fantastic. Qatar, we can improve that. $5 trillion. Oh, that's just unbelievable. And none of you are going to see a penny of it. All these promises. They've destroyed 100, 150, some cases 200 years of work in our colleges and universities. They've destroyed our academies for our children and grandchildren. They're now targeting K through 12 to destroy our government schools. They've targeted our Congress. They've targeted all administrations, both parties. So they're on both sides of the tracks, the terrorists and the West. Why are they doing that? Because they're trying to lull the West, buy the West into a situation where the West is simply not psychologically or otherwise prepared to deal with this. Do a state of compliance. You don't see much going on, do you, about Qatar money going into our colleges and universities? Has Congress passed a bill to stop that? No. Why not? Why not? No executive orders on nothing. Zero. Why? Qatar is buying into hospitals, to medical schools. $5 million to the Medal of Honor Museum. See that? Now, why do they care about our Medal of Honor recipients? They could care less. But they want you to think that they're really a tremendous ally as they pay for our destruction from within. I want to emphasize the point. When it comes to Qatar, I'm the populist. I'm the one telling you, tens of millions of you and all my fellow Americans, you get nothing from Qatar. Oh, they're going to invest in our country. As I said, it won't help any of you. The assembly line worker, the electrician, the plumber, the truck driver, the cop, the firefighter, the restaurateurs, the surgeons, the lawyers, well, maybe some lawyers, but you get the point. The people who make this country work, you, Mr. and Mrs. America, you'll see none of this. Meanwhile, people are becoming multi-billionaires. Billions put into their funds, billions put into their businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars put into their pockets. In fact, Carlson's first investor, I wrote it down here somewhere, Mr. Producer. I know I did because you gave it to me yesterday. Oh, yes. Omid Malik. He goes over there last week and in public, in front of the seminar, in front of members of the royal family, says, and one of our first investments was the Tucker Carlson network. I posted what the man said, and then one of his friends, Alex somebody or other, who's apparently in the inner circle, he comes out and says, stop dragging him into this. Stop smearing him. Dragging him into what? I linked to his own words. What's he doing saying that? Why is he bragging to a terrorist regime, a monarchy, overseas that one of his first investments was Tucker Carlson? Because we know why. It turns out this guy, Alex, Mr. Producer, he's over there too. A Wall Street guy. Wall Street's happy. Professional athletics are happy. The media are happy. The lobbyists, the law firms, all happy. People making millions and billions. They're all happy, and you're getting screwed. You're getting screwed. You get none of this. It benefits none of us. I'm not talking about welfare payments and redistribution of wealth. I'm saying it doesn't do a damn thing for our society. And by the way, where does this money come from in the first place? Who the hell buys most of the natural gas from Qatar? We do. So it's just recirculated money, mostly out of your wallets and purses. That's the truth. Our Fred Ted Cruz has been really one of the great leaders in this battle. He posted that Carlson was over there, and over there in Mediaite, a guy by the name of Kobe Hall, who's now on CNN, so he's hardly objective. Guy has a very thin background, and nonetheless, he runs the place over there for Dan Abrams. And then there's a guy named Charles Nash who writes for them, a real left-winger and very low IQ. I've had to deal with this guy in the past myself. He points out, wait a minute, some of these people that are going to this event actually work for Ted. I thought to myself, what kind of candy-ass clip is that? Headline is that? I just said in my own case, I know people, acquaintances, and a couple of friends who are over there now, and I strongly disagree with them. They're not anti-Semites. They're not Jew haters. They're not Israel haters. They're not America haters. They're not pushing Sharia law. They're not doing any of that stuff that Carlson's doing. So, of course, Ted Cruz focused on Carlson. Because the people we know, who I believe shouldn't be there, but there they are, what can I do? They're not going to now turn into Jew haters and promoting Sharia law and all the rest. He is. Unequivocally. He's Qatar's best friend in the media. Best friend, bar none. He's Putin's best friend in the media, bar none. He's Iran's best friend in the American West media, bar none. Bar none. So why wouldn't the senator focus on that? Because it further underscores the ties that the reprobate has with the inbreds that is the royal family of Qatar. But the bottom line is, you, the American people, in my view, you see the ruling class, you see the elites of business and academia and media and politics and all the rest. They're making a fortune. They're making connections. They're at least, for a period of time, living in lavish luxury. Well, you break your ass every day and told how wonderful Qatar is while they're destroying your kids' minds. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, I have a question for you. Do you believe America's best days are still ahead? With the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence coming up in less than a year, my friends at the Heritage Foundation are taking stock of the current situation, and they need your input. They've launched a survey on America's future to gauge how Americans feel right now about where we are as a nation and where we're headed in the next 250 years. You know, for decades, your American values have been under attack, but now, with President Trump's administration in office, we have an opportunity to turn the tide and usher in a new golden age for America. But the Heritage Foundation needs to hear from you. What policies do patriots like you most care about? What do you believe are the defining principles of America? What legacy do you believe we should pass on to the next generation? Please visit heritage.org/Levin today and share your feedback and help shape the future of America. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. So what you're going to see, what you're going to hear is even more people who basically have been bought off, who have connections now to the inbred royal family in Qatar. And I want you to do your own research. I want you to go to the MEMRI site, MEMRI.org, Qatar's support for anti-U.S. terrorist activists and activities and attacks. New York Post, just the other day, Qatar pumping tens of billions into universities to help Muslim Brotherhood weaken the U.S., destroy democracy. I'm not making this stuff up. The Free Press, Qatar's war for young American minds. The Hudson Institute, the Muslim Brotherhood's U.S. network. The Muslim Brotherhood is funded by Qatar for the most part. It goes on and on and on and on. Their alliance with the Taliban. Weren't we at war with the Taliban? Their alliance with Iran. Didn't Iran threaten to blow us up the face of the earth? And then, of course, 9/11. People are making a fortune, and we're getting screwed. We're coming upon the 250th birthday of the United States, and it has me thinking, what will America look like 250 years from now? My friends at the Heritage Foundation want to know what you think. What policies should America prioritize? What principles should carry us into the decades ahead? As America enters a new golden age, Heritage recognizes that this is the time to take stock and to be intentional about how we shape the future of America. And they can't do it without your input. So please go to heritage.org/LEVIN and let them know what you think is important. Without patriots like you stepping up and speaking up for what you believe in, America as we know it can't survive for another 250 years. Please go to heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/LEVIN. Take the survey on America's future. This survey takes less than 10 minutes to complete, but it is critical for making sure that the America we pass on to future generations is an America we're proud of. Go to heritage.org/Levin today. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Mark Levin, America's real influencer. Dial in 877-381-3811.
So while Qatar is stuffing luxury in the mouth and the pockets of the ruling class and elites in exchange for promises of investing enormous sums of money in the United States of America, and let me tell you what they're really investing in. This is an exclusive from the New York Post the other day. Qatar pumping tens of billions of dollars into universities to help Muslim Brotherhood weaken the United States and destroy democracy. I don't know, Mr. Producer, is that worth 5 nights at the Ritz-Carlton? I don't think so. Qatar has allegedly pumped more than $20 billion into American colleges and other top institutions as part of the Muslim Brotherhood's decades-long plan to infiltrate the U.S. and destroy democracy from within, a leading research institute warns, while adding that the nefarious funding could be staggeringly higher. Man, are they laughing at us. They're saying, you know what, this investment in America's ruling class and elites, chump change compared to what we're getting for it. The Qatar Foundation, which is bankrolled by the country's ruling royal family, has apparently been injecting tens of billions of dollars in institutions to help the Sunni Islamist group carve out toeholds in the educational system. See, they figured out, we get the kids, we get the future. According to a new report by the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy, the Qatar Foundation. The royal family Qatar has a bayah, a spiritual oath to the Muslim Brotherhood. So they're pumping in many, many billions of dollars into our universities, K through 12 schools and cultural institutions, using influence and soft power to promote its ideology, says Dr. Charles Asher Small, executive director of the group, in an interview with The Post. Many trails uncovered by the group show that Qatar, the regime, has donated a staggering $10 billion to Cornell University over the years. Imagine that. And with smaller amounts doled out to schools such as Georgetown, Texas A&M, Brown University. Oh, yeah. This is the tip of the iceberg, Small said, of the eye-watering sum he estimates could be at least $100 billion. $100 billion. Wow. Anybody concerned about this? Foreign money from a country that's the biggest financier of terrorism, that basically owns the Muslim Brotherhood? Yeah. Budgeted funding for the medical school in Qatar has averaged approximately $156 million a year from 2012 to 2025, totaling $2.2 billion. Virtually all funding remains in Qatar for Weill Cornell Medicine Qatar school operations. So here, ladies and gentlemen, you know, they say they're investing in the United States, giving to the United States, give it to Cornell, but Cornell has to spend it in Qatar. Now, isn't that pretty cool? Meanwhile, Georgetown has received over $1 billion in funds from Qatar, according to Small, which was put toward education in the social sciences, Middle East studies, and funding of the most important diplomatic training programs in the U.S., if not the world, quote unquote. Very impactful use of soft power, Small said. The group also discovered $1.3 billion to be given to Texas A&M by Qatar. Texas is a big target of the Islamists. Big target. They want to turn it, just like the Democrats. The contract, there's research involved in this, by the way, ceded all intellectual property rights to the Qatari Foundation for whatever they invent or discover. Faculty who created intellectual property at Texas A&M and Qatar received 37.5% of the net licensing revenue. The remaining net licensing revenue is distributed 33.3% to the Qatar Foundation, 29.2% to Texas A&M at Qatar to reinvest in the research program in Qatar. Now, of these, 58 projects had dual use for civilian and military purposes, and dozens more involved dual use for nuclear research. Noting the group has called on the Department of Energy to investigate this. It's just unfreaking believable. This is a terrorist state. And we're supposed to pretend it's our buddy because the elites and the ruling class kind of smitten by this crowd. And it goes on. This is just one of many examples. Excuse me, cholera. One of many examples. The Muslim Brotherhood, again, that's Qatar's baby. The Hudson Institute, the Muslim Brotherhood's U.S. network. Washington, D.C. has suddenly become very interested in the Muslim Brotherhood. American policymakers are debating whether to engage in nonviolent elements of the Muslim Brotherhood network, both inside and outside the United States, in hope that such engagement will empower the moderates against violent Wahhabi and Salafi groups such as al-Qaeda. Unfortunately, this strategy is based on, these are terrorists! Oh, we're such suckers. Our ruling class is so awful. This strategy is based on the false assumption that moderate Islamist groups will confront and weaken their violent co-religionists, robbing them of their support base. Nonsense. Even though the Muslim Brotherhood does not openly call for violence or terrorism, it still does little to oppose it. In fact, it may provide an ideological springboard for future violence. It goes on. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, this is the guy Qatar protected. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, KSM. The mastermind of 9/11 terrorist attacks, told U.S. interrogators he was first drawn to violent jihad after attending Brotherhood youth camps. Again, this is Qatar. It is therefore inexplicable that policymakers should seek to empower Islamist groups, such as the Muslim Brotherhood, as a strategy to combat terrorism. It's a great article. I commend it to you, by the Hudson Institute, by Zenia Baran. You can check it out yourself. The Muslim Brotherhood's U.S. network. They built a massive network in our country with funding by Qatar. And, of course, they were also involved in 9/11 through KSM. Qatar, that is. So what are we doing? Here's the Free Press. A incredible piece by Eli Lake. Qatar's war for young American minds. The same country now protecting Hamas senior leaders has donated billions to American universities, and he explains why. $103 million to Virginia Commonwealth University for Fine Arts Campus. $1.8 billion to Cornell in 2001 Medical School. 2003, nearly $700 million to Texas A&M for an engineering campus. Since 2004. $740 million to Carnegie Mellon University for a computer science campus. 2005, $760 million to Georgetown School of Politics. 2008, $602 million to Northwestern University for a School of Journalism. Why is it so interested in ensuring that our children get such a great education? It's called brainwashing. Brainwashing. That's what it is. The last 25 years, Lake writes, the universities have justified these joint ventures with Qatar as a way to liberalize an autocratic society and bring American soft power to the Middle East. Indeed, Qatari officials have themselves given lip service to this goal. They're still protecting Hamas. They funded and supported Hamas directly right up to October 7th. Hamas has killed Americans, you know. Muslim Brotherhood has killed Americans. In some cases, the universities cooperated with Qatar's strategic interests. The Qatar campus of Northwestern, whose U.S. journalism school is ranked as one of the best in the world, signed a memorandum of understanding with Al Jazeera. That's the state-run Qatari royal family-funded news channel that has provided a sympathetic platform for Hamas and other Islamic groups to help train its reporters. So now, Al Jazeera is helping to train journalism students, future reporters from Northwestern. How do you think of that, Mr. Producer? This is sick. And it goes on and on. One reason why Qatar's been able to invest so much in American institutions, because American foreign policy has embraced the country since the war on terror began after 9/11. Even though Qatar is aligned with Hamas, to a lesser extent with Iran, it also hosts the Al Udeid Air Base, our air base. The Qataris are an important interlocutory between America and Iran. And it goes on. One of Qatar's soft power aims is to advance the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood, the Islamist movement that spawned Hamas and the ruling party in Turkey, Erdogan. According to a 2021 analysis from the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, Qatar funds the International Union of Muslim Scholars, the clerical arm of the Muslim Brotherhood. 2017, Bahrain, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates posed a trade and travel embargo on Qatar in response to its support of the Muslim Brotherhood. You've got these other Arab countries with these other monarchies, and Qatar has sought to fund terrorism in those countries and overthrow those countries. Saudi Arabia hates Qatar. Nobody ever reports this. I'm the only one talking about this. And it goes on. Article after article, money after money, evidence after evidence. And there they are, as I speak to you. These people on the list, chowing down on 5-course meals in 5-star hotels, enjoying car races, playing golf. Qatar is figured. You know, it has been said, and wrongly, by the way, that Vladimir Lenin once said that we will sell the capitalists the rope with which they will hang themselves. You ever hear that phrase, Mr. Producer? Turns out he never actually said that, but he said things like that. But it's not just the communists. It's the Marxists, Islamists will sell us the rope with which to hang ourselves. That's precisely what's going on. Precisely what's going on. The Hudson Institute, the Free Press, Memory, the New York Post, you name it. Goes on and on and on. There are studies out there trying to track the money. Has Congress cut off all funds, all foreign money? All. To our colleges and universities? No. Did the Biden regime? No. Is this administration? No. We don't need foreign money in our colleges and universities. And I haven't even gotten to communist China. That's loading our universities with money and building in their Confucius institutes and putting their students into our schools and what they're doing in our schools and how they're spying on our country. You know, we're not going to survive this. We can't survive this forever. We just can't. And I don't care if these people put smiles on their faces from Qatar and from communist China and all the rest. Qatar is a terror state. They can smile all they want. Communist China is a communist state. They can put a smile on their face all they want. And part of the problem already is that we rely on communist China for so many essential materials and products, many of which they stole from us in the first place. And now we're beholden to them in many respects. And that's exactly what Qatar is doing now. They are buying up our culture. They are buying up our politics. That's what they're doing. Our ruling class and our elites, you and me, Mr. and Mrs. America, working stiffs. That's what we are. Who carry the globe on our shoulders. This isn't for us. What's for us? And again, I don't say that as we want welfare. No. You built this country. Your ancestors built this country. So don't sell it to these people. Don't sell our institutions to these people. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, I have a question for you. Do you believe America's best days are still ahead? With the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence coming up in less than a year, my friends at the Heritage Foundation are taking stock of the current situation, and they need your input. They've launched a survey on America's future to gauge how Americans feel right now about where we are as a nation and where we're headed in the next 250 years. You know, for decades, your American values have been under attack, but now, with President Trump's administration in office, we have an opportunity to turn the tide and usher in a new golden age for America. But the Heritage Foundation needs to hear from you. What policies do patriots like you most care about? What do you believe are the defining principles of America? What legacy do you believe we should pass on to the next generation? Please visit heritage.org/Levin today and share your feedback and help shape the future of America. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. Now you know why a lot of these podcasters hate my guts, Mr. Producer. Mr. and Mrs. America, I defend you. I stand for you, not these other countries. They want you to believe I'm Israel first and blah, blah, blah. This is all Qatari propaganda and BS. And they spew it and they repeat it. They undermine our country. They change our history during World War II. It all comports with the Qatari propaganda and what they teach their young people. I'm the biggest enemy they all have. I am. Trust me, I look over my shoulder every now and then. I really do. I'm the biggest enemy they have. So, because I stand for this country. All this money pouring into this country, it's not for us. It's used against us. That's the truth. It's the truth. I don't make a nickel off of any country. No country's ever paid me for hotels or food or sport. Nothing. Not one penny. Our country hasn't even done that. I don't seek it. I don't want it. Probably the cleanest guy out there. But listen to this one, NBC News. With Hollywood strapped for cash, well, who's going to step in? Saudi Arabia is reemerging as a key financial backer. Saudi Arabia wants to control entertainment. Qatar wants to control education and the politics. They've got trillions. We're paying those trillions for their gasoline and their oil. They're recycling it into our country to buy our country. Isn't it funny, years ago when the Japanese were buying all that real estate, people made a big hubbub and so forth and so on, and China's buying our real estate, we're making a hubbub, and not a whole lot's being done about it. These guys are buying up our culture. They decided the power's in the culture. And by the way, Qatar, however, owns more real estate, did you hear this, Rich, in London than the royal family in London. Is that incredible, America? The West is weak. Our ruling class, the elites, they're weak. Our media are weak. I think I'm coming down with a cold, or either that or I'm just starting to sound like Carol Channing, Mr. Producer. Who's Carol Channing? All right, we'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number on this beautiful Friday, well, it's freezing, man. I'll tell you that, in Virginia. 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. What the hell am I doing in Virginia when our home's in Florida? Seriously, Mr. Producer. Well, there's certain events here that I'm having to attend, so that's why I'm here. This is the time of year you definitely want to be in Florida. You know what? My wife told me that the Loudoun County schools in Virginia here shut down today, Mr. Producer. There wasn't even an inch of snow. America, there wasn't even an inch of snow. This is why, in so many respects, not all of us, of course, but we're raising snowflakes, as my rabbi puts it. Folks, you could see the pavement all day. Now, this morning there was a little dusting. They were saying it would probably end around noon or 1 o'clock. They stopped the entire school system. I just think our school systems don't really want to educate. That's not their focus. If they can find a day to close down, they close down. I mean, in addition to the national, the federal holidays, they've got their own holidays. Then they have contract days off, teachers in service day and work day. And around here, they're basically just not at school. They're off. They get the day off before Election Day. They get the day off on Election Day. I mean, it's like holiday after holiday after holiday. I'm saying, I don't know if that's good or bad, depending on what school they're going to. If they're being indoctrinated and poison's being fed to them, that's one thing, too. But good Lord. I mean, this is why we have too many people in the younger generations. You don't focus on us excuse me? As a parent, that's all we focus on. No, you don't understand. What's that? Like that caller a couple months ago, 20-year-old. You know how hard it is to buy a house? You're 20 years old. It's always hard to buy a house when you're 20 years old. You know how you get a house? How? You work for it. That's how you get a house. If you lose a job, you try and find another job. Or you learn a trade. Or you do something. No. I want to elect a Marxist Islamist. He said free and get the billionaires. And yeah, it's not right. It's a whole psychological dimension of this. In addition to everything I've discussed the first hour, that is now being poured into the cranium of our children and grandchildren. Then you don't have to work. Or if you can't find a job, it's the system's fault. Or whatever it is. Rather than, look, you got to get up off the ground and you got to fight for what's going to be yours. That's the greatness of this country. You earn it. Go out and get it. You have opportunities. You may not know, but you do. And I don't know about most of you folks, but nothing is a straight line to success. Nothing is a straight line to be able to put money in the bank and food on the table. It's not a straight line. It doesn't work that way. For some, if it has, that's great. But for many people, you're fired, or there's other problems, physical, mental problems, or the economy turns sour, so the whole industry, it's whatever it is. And that happens everywhere, no matter what system there is. But you got to be able to pull yourself out of it. There was no snow on the ground. A little dusting this morning. They canceled school in Loudoun County, Virginia. They got a 3-day weekend. Don't shut down the government, whatever you do. Pretty incredible, don't you think? All right, I want to finish with this. It's important. So Qatar is doing what Qatar is doing. Very evil terrorist-supporting country. Very active in our country in the West. Very active in our politics and our podcasters. And Carlson's his name for a reason. That's a damn good name, and that's what it is. NBC, Hollywood is feeling the lure of Saudi Arabian money. This is crazy. It's actually outrageous what's going on with these industries, these businesses going on in our culture. The stars are taking it, with many set to receive checks for attending this week's Red Sea Film Festival. So over in Saudi Arabia, we have a Red Sea Film Festival for Hollywood, for movie moguls, for actors and actresses, for the whole movie industry, the whole entertainment industry. And not too far away in the neighborhood, there's Qatar. They got the politicians, the businesses, the think tank guys, and the podcasters. Wow, they're busy, aren't they? Studios are interested in it, with their executives traveling to the kingdom to meet about potential deals. The highest level, Saudi money could end up helping to finance a massive media merger. Jesus. Drives me nuts. For the entertainment industry, Saudi financing has become more appealing as other sources of money have dried up in the aftermath of the 2020 COVID pandemic. The 2023 dual actors and writers strikes and shifting audience habits away from film and TV to social media. So we're relying on two royal families to breathe life into our country? Money is good. That's Hollywood's perspective, said entertainment attorney Sky Moore at Greenberg Glusker. For the Saudis, it's all about building their own film industry, and they're trying to get the experience and the people there. It's all about owning our entertainment industry and propaganda America. That's what it's all about. From the country from which 15 of the 19 terrorists came on 9/11. Oh, that's so long ago, Mark. Give it up. Give it up. But Saudi Arabia's controversial human rights record makes the relationship an uneasy one for some in the West. You know, it's interesting, this mediaites writing this stuff, attacking Ted Cruz and so forth. Not once did they write about the human rights record in Qatar. It's all over the place. The indentured servants, the slavery, the brutality, people being disappeared, really disappeared, what goes on the back streets and the back towns. Not a word from Mediaite, not a word from Drudge, not a word from anybody. Our friends. It's a sensitive topic to talk about in Hollywood, where more than a dozen insiders, including agents and producers and executives and bankers and publicists, declined to go on record about the inrush of potential Saudi cash. Yeah! This week, many of them are headed to the kingdom's coastal city of Jeddah for the Red Sea Film Festival. Jeddah. I'll call it what I choose to. Jeddah is better. Which runs through December 13. Recent years, the festival, a non-profit organization financed by Saudi government money, has paid talent up to $2.5 million to attend at least part of the event. According to two sources with knowledge of the deals, we're not authorized to speak on the record about them. Up to $2.5 million for somebody to show up. How much are they paying in Qatar? Is Carlson getting any money? Maybe he's doing it for free. I don't know. Hotels, food, transportation, you know, those unlocked Lamborghinis that he's so impressed by. The festival does not disclose the details of any of its commercial arrangements, but we on occasion engage with talent on a contractual basis for work we ask them to do at the festival, which includes labs and conversations, mentorship sessions with emerging regional talent, the festival said in a statement. You kidding me? This year's festival organizers announced that the 9-day event will feature a jury with Oscar-winning Anora, director Sean Baker, actor Riz Ahmed, stage conversations with actors including Ana de Armas, Dakota Johnson, Kirsten Dunst, on and on and on. Jessica Alba. By the way, the New York Post can't get enough of Jessica Alba. Have you noticed that, Mr. Producer? You got these 40-year-old, sometimes 50-year-old actresses, you know, who are really beautiful women and so forth, running around in bikinis. And they can't have it's like the paper with all the 40-year-old women running around in bikinis. I'm trying to read the news, and there's this photo. Am I wrong, Rich? I'm right? Here she is yesterday. Here she is with her boyfriend. What's his name? Okay, got it. The foundation is first and foremost committed to nurturing talent in underrepresented markets, as evidenced by our program and filmmakers we support year-round. Oh, they're humanitarians. They're DEI over there in Saudi Arabia. Do you believe that? So your festival organizers announced that the 90 event will feature that jury that I told you about. Oh, they have Angelina Jolie. Oh, yeah, Paramount's The SpongeBob Movie, Search for the SquarePants. Oh, real big hits. I don't know what the hell all this is. Told you I live in my own culture. Saudi money is also behind a portion of Paramount Skydance's more than $60 billion bid this week for Warner Brothers Discovery. Saudi is all in, ladies and gentlemen. All in the entertainment business. All in. Additionally, the kingdom is backing a $1 billion new independent content studio called Arena SNK, launched in October by former Lionsgate executive Eric Feig, and $55 billion deal for video game maker Electronic Arts, announced in September. Executives from Sony traveled to Saudi Arabia this fall for meetings. Spokesperson confirmed Comcast CEO Brian Roberts also traveled to the country this fall to attend a conference and view a potential theme park site, a tourism mega project in Riyadh. According to a source with knowledge of Roberts' trip, who was not authorized to speak on the record. While there are many deals in discussion, Moore noted that a major Hollywood studio is yet to actually close one with Saudi. They're getting there. They just wrote about all this money they're trying to do in these various takeovers, various parts of the media industry. But Hollywood's not alone in its attempts to muster up funding from the Middle East. Both the sports and gaming worlds have tapped into Saudi money. Critics, including Human Rights Watch, an international non-government organization, the Atlantic Council Research Institute, have accused the Saudi government of so-called sports washing, investing in golf and soccer to improve its international image. I don't need them to do it. I'm doing it. Right here, right now. 2027 WrestleMania will be held in Riyadh, marking the first time the WWE will hold its signature pay-per-view match outside North America. Ooh, can't wait. Video game giant Electronic Arts announced in September it will be acquired. $55 billion all-cash deal by public investment fund of Saudi Arabia and Affinity Partners, the investment company run by Jared Kushner. From the Saudi perspective, the entertainment industry spending is a way to reduce the country's economic dependence on oil and to improve their image globally. Yeah, that's for sure. They going to do a movie on 9/11, you think, Mr. Producer? Ooh, that would be a good one. And it goes on and on and on. Saudi Arabia not wanting to be outdone by Qatar. So far they are being outdone by Qatar, but they're all in, man. They're all in. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, in all the time I've been supporting Pure Talk, my wireless company, I can honestly say I've never seen an offer like this from them before. Listen to this. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data with a 30-gig hotspot. Just $29.95 a month for life. Friends, this is Pure Talk's top-tier plan, normally $65 a month. Now through December 7th, that's it. Just $29.95 a month. You're saving over 50% a month every month for life. Yes, that's on their crazy fast 5G network. But this offer is extremely short-lived. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's Levin for Pure Talk's best unlimited plan. Just $29.95 a month for life. Make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Keep your phone, keep your number, and start saving with unlimited for life for just $29.95 a month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin to switch to my wireless company, Pure Talk. Taxes and fees not included. Some restrictions apply. See puretalk.com for details. Offer ends December 7, 2025. Terrorists get into this country, and I'm going to discuss it at some length on Life, Liberty, and Levin tomorrow night. Two great shows this weekend. As you know, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. I hope you'll set your DVRs, but I really dig into this with our great guests. The problem we have here, the killing of the National Guardsman and the critically wounding the other and other murders taking place and would-be terrorist acts going on, is this fusion of Marxism and Islamism. The Democrat Party does not believe in securing the border. The Democrat Party believes that immigration of foreigners into our country is a right of the foreigners and that the citizenry should shut its mouth and just deal with it. Of course, the voting list, they're trying to change the gerrymandering so they can have more House seats. They're trying to change the Electoral College and all the rest of it. So they're very nefarious. the Democrat Party. They're sabotaging our republic so that they can have one-party rule. That's their plan. That's the way they view it. On the other hand, we have an enormous number of Islamists in this country. That population is growing hugely. By 2050, it's estimated that Islam will be the second biggest religion in this country. By 2044, Barack Obama would tell us over and over and over again that the majority will be the minority, and the minority will be the majority. That seemed to be one of his key efforts, apparently, I guess. The purpose of immigration is to serve the citizens of the United States of all colors, faiths, and backgrounds, not the aliens who seek to come in here. But this is why you get open borders, and this is why you get people coming into the country, murdering other people. That's not to say we don't have domestic murders going on. I get it, American citizens. That doesn't mean you attract and invite other people into the country who are going to murder and maim and kill again. And then you have an assimilation problem because the institutions in our country that used to assimilate people, like K through 12, the unions have destroyed it. Like our colleges and universities, Qatar has destroyed it. Like our media, Saudi Arabia is about to destroy it, but the Democrat Party already has. We don't assimilate people into our culture. They bring their own culture. They bring their own ideology. They bring their own hatred and belief systems. We are a very benevolent country. We're a very tolerant country, a very loving country. That's not the case in everywhere in the world. And so you vet people to make sure they have allegiance, make sure they're going to work out in our country, that they're not going to be on the welfare system, that, in fact, they're coming here to improve the lot of the citizens in the United States. Here, that's the purpose of immigration, to serve the people in America. Used to be, certainly not anymore. So you have this going on, this fusion that I've been talking about over and over again now for many years and writing about. You have this going on now. And so you get what you import. You get what you import. That's what we imported. Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, Qatari money. Some people are making out like bandits. But we as a society are suffering from this. That's why I'm spending so much time on this. It's incredibly important. Incredibly important. Again, that's not to excuse people who are born in our country or doing diabolical things. Of course not. But there's no reason to import more of it, is there? And we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to get into this guy, the pipe bomber wannabe, some of his background and so forth. And it's obvious that the Biden regime, it's obvious that the Department of Justice, under Meritless Garland, under Christopher Wray, did next to nothing, despite the thousands of agents it unleashed on January 6 protesters, and some who were rioters, no question, but on people who had never even entered that building, but got tired very quickly of going after the would-be pipe bomber. I'll be right back. You know, in all the time I've been supporting Pure Talk, my wireless company, I can honestly say I've never seen an offer like this from them before. Listen to this. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data with a 30-gig hotspot. Just $29.95 a month for life. Friends, this is Pure Talk's top-tier plan, normally $65 a month. Now through December 7th, that's it. Just $29.95 a month. You're saving over 50% a month every month for life. Yes, that's on their crazy fast 5G network. But this offer is extremely short-lived. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's Levin for Pure Talk's best unlimited plan. Just $29.95 a month for life. Make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Keep your phone, keep your number, and start saving with unlimited for life for just $29.95 a month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/LEVIN to switch to my wireless company, Pure Talk. Taxes and fees not included. Some restrictions apply. See puretalk.com for details. Offer ends December 7, 2025.
Mark Levin on the front line of liberty. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
By the way, the guest tomorrow night on Life, Liberty, and Levin, Gene Hamilton, who is the co-founder and president of America's, one of America's great legal foundations that he founded with Stephen Miller, America First Legal, and where my wife is the general counsel. And Sunday's incredible, too. We have Brian Mast and Mike Davis, who's a great lawyer. And, of course, my opening statements are very, very powerful opening statements. I hope you'll check it out. But always set your DVR. I never used to set a DVR, Mr. Producer, but I set it now. You ever use your DVR? You just set it once and you're ready to go. 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday on Fox, and you're ready to go, and you'll never miss it. So if you're out to dinner or watching football or something else, we're still there for you. And I think you're going to love these two shows. Very important. Now remember, next year I have a special announcement. We're going to expand this. We're going to expand the Levin Empire. Oh, yes. Big announcement next year, Mr. Producer. We're going to expand the Levin Empire. We're going to reach even more people. We're reaching to every corner of the planet, every corner of the country. But we're not done, man. No, we're not even close to done. No. Tom Cotton is one of the great senators. We have this issue of Venezuela, as Bernie Sanders would call it, and I discussed this at length on Sunday. This issue of Venezuela, whether attacking these narco boats that want to kill our people, whether it's illegal for crying out loud, whether it's constitutional, whether the Secretary of War has committed war crimes. These people are nuts. So you will see a fulsome defense of the president, cholera, the Secretary of War, our military, and what we're doing, and how perfectly legal it is, how perfectly constitutional it is. And yet again, the Democrats have a false issue. The whole Epstein thing. You ever ask yourself what happened to the Epstein thing? Another phony issue? You remember we were told by Bloated Bannon and Carlson and all the rest of them, back in June or July, I think it was, MAGA's falling apart. MAGA won't put up with this. What's that jackass UFC fighter's name? Ex-UFC fighter. Forget his name, another schmuck. But anyway, MAGA can't handle this. MAGA's turning on Trump. MAGA doesn't give a damn, it turns out. And it has nothing to do with Trump. Zero. As I told you. I mean, it's obvious. You folks, Mr. and Mrs. America, you're smart people. If Biden didn't have anything and didn't do anything with it, there's nothing there. And the president said there's nothing there. Shouldn't we trust him every now and then, for crying out loud? Rather than the radical kook media and the neo-fascist podcasters? Why do we listen to them? President said he didn't do anything, and he didn't do anything. President said he paid all his taxes. They leaked his tax returns. Then they got him through a subpoena. He paid all of his taxes. President said he didn't do anything with Russia. He didn't do anything with Russia. Why don't we trust them? And people who claim to trust him, they stab him in the back all the time. So here's Tom Cotton. Here's a combat veteran. This is a man who knows what the hell he's talking about. We reporters on Capitol Hill yesterday, they see the video, and it's obvious that they're going back to September 2nd because of this false Washington Post report filled with lies from anonymous sources. Just lie after lie after lie. Pete Hegseth gave a kill everybody order. He wasn't even there for the second strike, and he never gave the order. Eyewitnesses said, no, he didn't. Oops, excuse us. No, we don't get an apology. We don't get an excuse us. No, we get one nuthead who wants to impeach him. Shri Theandar, Democrat Michigan, if that is his or her name. I guess it's a him. But you never know. Well, here's a patriot, Tom Cotton, with reporters on Capitol Hill. Cut one, go.
The first strike, the second strike, and the third and the fourth strike on September 2nd were entirely lawful and needful. I saw two survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs bound for the United States back over so they could stay in the fight. And potentially, given all the context we heard, of other narco-terrorist boats in the area coming to their aid to recover their cargo and recover those narco-terrorists.
Now, you haven't heard the media report that. You had to have the senators say that. So why don't they report that? Well, we know why. They're corrupt. Then we have this guy, Jim Hines, left-wing kook. That's true. Democrat, Connecticut. Democrat, Connecticut. Let's hear what he had to say, actually. Cut two, go.
The Admiral confirmed that there had not been a kill them all order and that there was not an order to grant no quarter.
So does it exonerate Hegseth? Does it exonerate him?
That's all I got.
That's all I got for you. I'll help you out, Raju. That would be the Constipated News Network, Qatar's favorite, Raju. Yes, it exonerates him. And he never needed to be exonerated. He didn't do anything wrong, you creep. All of you creeps. So there you have this left-wing Democrat from Connecticut. The Admiral confirmed he never gave a kill-them-all order, and he didn't order grant no quarter. In other words, kill everybody. That's it. That's it. Now let's go to Sri Tanadar. That's right. Sri Tanadar, if that's his name. Democrat, Michigan. What did this jerk have to say? Cut four, go.
I did want to ask you here if you can break down kind of the basis here behind your idea to introduce these articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth.
Okay, well, look, first of all, that's not a question, moron. That's not how you ask a question. The Constitution says high crimes and misdemeanors. Pete Hegseth didn't commit any high crimes and misdemeanors based on the secret briefing that you had. So why would you even seek to impeach him? Under what authority? That's how a reporter asks a question. What does Thanadar have to say? Go ahead.
One is the Signal Gate. He used a commercial app to talk about war plans, and he had...
That's not a high crime and misdemeanor. And he spoke on there, but he's not the one that even set up the call, Mr. Producer. Remember that? The Secretary of Defense didn't even set up the... Secretary of War didn't even set up the call. That's an impeachable offense. Now, these guys destroy our justice system, destroy our judicial system, destroy our immigration system, destroy. Nobody gets impeached. You got that Mayorkas. They had a phony impeachment in the Senate. They undermined and destroyed that provision of the Constitution, did Schmuck Schumer. And here, we're introducing impeachment because he used the Signal. You know, we don't ever use it. They always use Signal. And we used a commercial app to talk about war plans. He didn't know it was a commercial app. Oh, but we have the Inspector General of the Department of War. He said that it... Who cares? Who cares? They have a title. Ooh, it's an inspector. It's like a judge. Ooh, a judge? How many creep lawyers are judges now? Hundreds. How many creeps are inspector generals? You don't even know who this guy is. I don't even know who this inspector general is. But we're all supposed to rely on him because if we can screw Pete Hegseth, we'll rely on anybody. Go ahead.
Who is on the Signal chat? There was a editor, reporter on the Signal chat.
No offense. Is this guy an American congressman? Is he rich? He is? All right. I'm having trouble understanding, to be perfectly honest with you. Go ahead.
War plans, putting our service members at risk. And this was totally unacceptable. And that is an impeachable offense in my mind.
Oh, really?
And of course,
what kind of mind do you have? Oh, here comes the follow-up. Go ahead.
You, because you are going to hold that rally here. And what would you say is more important? Would it be the report on Signalgate or the strikes in Venezuela, or is it kind
isn't
of a
this
mix?
guy great? I don't even know who the hell this is. I guess I don't know where he's with. But what do you think was the worst offense? Signalgate? What do you mean Signalgate? Signalgate? Or Venezuela? Which is worse? Says the tough questioner to Sri Thanandar, if that is his name. Go ahead, please.
Both there.
It's both, both. This Secretary of Defense
it's both. And we're going to add a third. We're going to leave a blank there. So whatever he does, we're going to add there because we need to remove this man. Why? Why do you need to remove him? Why do they want to remove Pete Hegseth? What has the man done except serve our country? Except a war hero? What has he done to deserve this kind of treatment? Seriously, nothing. He's got massive responsibilities. He's got incredible stress, I'm sure, but he handles it beautifully. He's got the lives of tens of thousands of warfighters on his shoulders. And this is these Lilliputians, these nobodies, these backbenchers. There they are. I think we should impeach. Signal. Impeach over Signal. How come you didn't expel Swalwell, who slept with the enemy? Well, that was different. That's different. Now the guy's running for governor of California. That's different. The party of Chappaquiddick. Yeah, that's different. Everything's different. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
In all the time I've been supporting Pure Talk, my wireless company, I can honestly say I've never seen an offer like this from them before. Listen to this. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data with a 30-gig hotspot. Just $29.95 a month for life. Friends, this is Pure Talk's top-tier plan, normally $65 a month. Now through December 7th, that's it. Just $29.95 a month. You're saving over 50% a month every month for life. Yes, that's on their crazy fast 5G network. But this offer is extremely short-lived. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's Levin for Pure Talk's best unlimited plan. Just $29.95 a month for life. Make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Keep your phone, keep your number, and start saving with unlimited for life for just $29.95 a month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin to switch to my wireless company, Pure Talk. Taxes and fees not included. Some restrictions apply. See puretalk.com for details. Offer ends December 7, 2025. Hell. Show's flying by, I'll tell you. You set your DVRs yet for 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night and Sunday night on Fox? Come on now. You patriots, you Levinites out there. You can rally. We can do this. So we have this guy who Kash Patel and Bongino and Bondi, with, of course, the G-men, captured after years and years of neglect by the Biden regime. Years and years of neglect by the Biden regime. So here we have, how much time do I have, Rich? Here we have Kash Patel on Fox yesterday. Cut 8, go.
What we have found here is that any leadership that weaponized the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the prior administration or before that, we removed. Once we put our leaders in the field, like our new ADIC in Washington, D.C., and the deputy director and all other leadership across our 7th floor here, we told them the mission is simply as follows: crush violent crime and defend the homeland. That's what we do, and hold people accountable. And once that message and our leadership got out into the field, and here's another important part, we put 1,000 agents across America, removed them from headquarters, took intel analysts and support staff and pushed them out across the country to say the crime fighting has to happen out in the streets and in the cities of America and not inside the Hoover building and the headquarters building that built this diseased temple of weaponization. And that, coupled together with the president's authorities and resources to direct against priority targets allowed us to put the manpower on this target set. And it wasn't easy, Trace. I'm not going to say it was easy, but they had 4 years and we did it in 8 months.
That's pretty good, folks, but not to Mark Warner. Not to Mark Warner, who's a moron. He was on MS Now yesterday, which is so yesterday. Cut 10, go.
I think it is good news if this perpetrator got arrested. But I got to tell you, it kind of makes me, looking at this crowd doing a victory lap, when all the senior FBI officials across all key divisions have been fired for political purposes, when in some field offices up to 45% of the FBI officers who are doing things like counter-espionage and cyber have been assigned to do immigration cases.
Yeah, and isn't it amazing? They actually caught this guy by basically removing certain individuals who obviously needed to be removed and trying to refocus their priorities. Isn't it amazing, America? And crime at the federal level is way down under this FBI director and deputy FBI director, under this attorney general. Here's Pam Bondi, cut 9, go.
So why didn't the last FBI and Department of Justice catch this guy?
Lawrence, and that's the great question. This case languished. It sat there for 4 years collecting dust. No one did anything to solve this. And right when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came in, Dan said to me, Dan said to all of us, I'm going to solve this case. He put a new team on it, working with Jeanine Pirro, our U.S. attorney, with Todd Blanche, with all of our attorneys at Maine Justice. A new team gathered on this case. Old evidence, new people, great police work. That's all it is. Good old-fashioned police work. And it solved a case that right from where I'm sitting, this bomb was planted at the RNC.
And how dare this Senator Warner, so concerned about the bureaucrats who were in place for decades and decades, who weren't getting the job done. That's what he's worried about. Not the would-be pipe bomber, and more on him when we return in our Power Hour, the last hour of the week. Don't forget, set your DVRs. Now's the time. 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday on Fox.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. So the accused would-be pipe bomber, his name is Brian Cole Jr. New York Post says he wants his father once defended by a famous civil rights attorney who represented George Floyd. The father of accused D.C. attempted pipe bomber Brian Cole Jr. was once defended by the same civil rights attorney who represented George Floyd's family, Ben Crump. He represented Brian Cole Sr. in late 2021 when the sale of the Tennessee bond business he owned was being blocked by a local prosecutor. Now, Crump and Cole Sr. claimed the prosecutor, Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney John Zimmerman, was blocking the sale because its owners were black. Well, that's what Crump does, isn't it? That's pretty much the same card he plays all the time. Ben Crump Law represented Brian Cole Sr. in late 2021 in a racial discrimination matter involving his Tennessee-based company, Free at Last Bail Bonding. Crump's office told the Post the engagement lasted less than a month. The block against Cole Sr.'s company was dropped after Crump joined the team. The Murfreesboro Daily News Journal reported at the time. Crump's former client is now back in the spotlight after his son was arrested by the FBI on Thursday for allegedly planting a series of pipe bombs outside the Republican and Democratic National Committee offices in Washington on January 5, 2021. The night before Yeah, January 6th. That's how that works. January 5th and January 6th. The well-known attorney's office said it never had any legal connection to the accused pipe bomber's son. The prominent lawyer was once referred to as, quote, Black America's Attorney General, unquote, by the Reverend Al Shaw. All right, whatever. So, that's the father, not the son. Then we have National Review. FBI arrests suspect in January 6 pipe bomb investigation. James Lynch. Nearly 5 years after pipe bombs were found outside Republican and Democrat Party headquarters in Washington ahead of the January 6 Capitol riot, the FBI has finally arrested a suspect. They found, by the way, no new evidence, nothing. It was just new people working on it with new leadership. That makes all the difference in the world. And you got this buffoon, the senator from Virginia, Mark Warner, whining about the fact that they moved out these guys and then they found this guy. How sick is that? Now, the FBI's arrest follows a years-long manhunt paired with intense online speculation about the pipe bomber's identity. Hold on here. A commercial popped up. I hate when that happens. Justice Department announced the arrest at a press conference. They revealed the suspect was not identified as a result of new evidence coming to light, but rather due to the renewed investigative work based on the existing evidence. Suspect had been identified as Brian Cole of Virginia. The FBI examined every piece of information available, leveraged new technology, brought in experts from around the country, and methodically developed the evidence needed to nail this suspect, FBI Director Kash Patel said. This breakthrough didn't come from new tips. It came from relentless FBI work. And I might add, as Pam Bondi pointed out, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, my friend and your friend, one of the things he said when he took that position was, we're going to find out who this pipe bomber or would-be pipe bomber is. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And by God, they did. He did. Give the man some kudos. All these cheap shots. I mean, Bongino's like the gold standard. He's the platinum standard. And you have these Lilliputians, these neo-fascists, these grifters trying to build up their numbers. And so, yeah, he's turned on us. Yeah, he's no good. You know, he's very good. The pipe bombs were placed outside the RNC and the DNC. Obviously, they didn't go off. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, who had yet to assume her position, visited the DNC on January 6th and walked an estimated 20 feet from the pipe bomb. Whew. Secret Service personnel failed to detect the pipe bomb before Harris's visit, writes National Review. An internal Department of Homeland Security watchdog found last year. Federal law enforcement's failure to quickly remove the pipe bombs and subsequent inability to find the suspect for an extended period of time made the pipe bomber's identity the subject of online fervor. By the way, all of which I rejected, none of which I repeated, none of which I ever linked to. Period. That's not what I do. As a lawyer and former chief of staff at the Department of Justice, my view always is you don't have to be the first one, and don't play conspiracy games. And I never have, and I never would. Certainly when it's a matter like this. Now, the FBI previously released footage of the suspect planning the bombs and sought help from the American people to find the suspect. 2023, the Bureau raised its award to $500,000 for anyone who provided information leading to the suspect's arrest. Now, the suspect can be seen in the FBI's grainy footage wearing a hoodie, mask, and gloves to conceal his identity. I watched the show The FBI on Ion. My wife and I love that show, and it was on last night. It's just a great show. Now, one of the shows I'm up against on Sunday, and it's brutal, is Tracker, another FBI show. I think it's on CBS, Mr. Medusa. You ever watch that show? Good, because I'm going to fire you if you did. Nonetheless, I couldn't fire Rich. What the hell would I do without the guy? Seriously, Rich. Rich knows me better than I know me. It's hilarious. You don't think I know that, do you, Rich? 23 years. Good Lord. He knows what I do. All right. We're going to take a little early break. We have a special guest I want to bring on. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Full disclosure, Carl Davis is a friend of mine. I don't know him well, but I know him well enough. I trust him. He's a businessman. And there's an issue near and dear to his heart that he wants to communicate with the nation. And he took the time and the effort, the resources, to put together a documentary on the subject. And that is suicide, which is in so many ways an epidemic in this country. And Carl Davis, I want to welcome you to the program. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Mark. Thank you for having me on tonight. I really appreciate the time. This is such an important issue that needs exposure.
Let's start at the beginning. What is it that drew your attention to focus on this particular issue?
When I was 16, I had an older brother who was 22 who took his life. He was Army, and it took our family by surprise completely, and it shattered us. But we somehow managed to pull together and work our way through it, which was an enormous effort. I mean, it took me a psychoanalysis for 4 years, 5 days a week, and my parents went through counseling, and my eldest brother, Alan, also had psychological help, because this is something that is so big that you can't handle it yourself as much as you think you might. So that was the genesis for not just for the film, but my whole way of life of paying it forward by taking my darkest days and doing something with them to help others.
Well, first of all, you're a good soul. I know you have met you. You're a very kind and decent man, and you have your own family as well, and you put this documentary together. So tell the audience how you decided to undertake this project and how you began and executed this project.
Well, it took a long time to find the right pieces to come together, and I happened to have been at a holiday event, and across the table from me was a filmmaker who said, "Hey, I'm Frank Finico of X's in the Sky Films, and I make documentaries if you ever have an idea." And the wheels were turning in my head, because this is something that I've longed to do. It was a goal my whole life. And I said, "I have an idea. I will call you tomorrow." And we sat down and we spoke for probably the better part of a week, and then signed a contract, because he was all for making this film. He realized he's a man of God, and he realized that life is worth saving, and any way any one of us can do something to do that is so critically important. So we began the process of making the film. He's an extraordinary filmmaker, and my wife and I edited it along the way, as did he. And we had suggestions like, "No, take this out. We don't like this. Add this in, and maybe move this around." And he was extraordinary. I mean, he made a great film, and by the time 4 or 5 months passed, the film was ready, the trailer was done, and it was the kind of trailer that we looked at and said, "Oh my God, I want to watch this film. This is going to be tough, but I have to watch it." And I would continue to watch the film over and over again once it was finished, and it was hard. I would shed my tears because I had to relive all this stuff. In fact, when the filmmaker first filmed me for the first few hours, I said, "I'm going to forewarn you, I'm going to be emotional. This is hard for me, but it's something that I really feel I have to do." And he said, "Good." He said, "Let your feelings through." He said, "Because that shows how authentic you are and how important this subject matter is. And it's not going to help anybody if it's intellectualized and it's just kind of a dull film. You need to be yourself." And I was. And it was hard. I lost it a few times during the filming. And people ask, was it cathartic? And yes, in a way it was cathartic. It was painful, but it was cathartic. But I know the long view of this mission is to save lives. And I knew that I had to do this no matter what I had to go through and how much of it I had to relive, because it was painful. And it's not something you want to do, but this was important to get the long goal out there, and that's saving lives.
And the documentary is called See Through the Darkness, and we're going to post it up there, seethroughthedarkness.org, seethroughthedarkness.org. It's got a trailer and a link to view the full film for a donation of $5. And that donation of $5 is going to go to help people, right?
Correct. We want to garner enough funding that we can actually pay it forward. We want to be able to help suicide prevention organizations. And there are a couple in the film that are mentioned that I'm very close with. And, these guys save lives, military and law enforcement. And that's the primary focus of the film is saving lives of law enforcement, first responders, and military, because they see such a preponderance of ungodly things that they can't unsee. And they sometimes wonder when they take off their uniform, what's my purpose? Well, I've been doing this for 30 years. What do I do now? And there's no support, and there are all these different issues that cause a rebound effect, and these guys feel worthless, and it's terrible.
People don't necessarily think about the fact that when something horrendous happens, a plane crash or a car blows up or something like that, somebody or some number of people have to go there and not just clean up the site, figure out who these people are, tell the families. It's a human tragedy all around. And it's a horrible, horrible thing, or watching your buddy get shot in the head and things of that sort. And your film is absolutely unbelievable. It's not prurient. It is, in some ways, very upsetting. In other ways, it's awakening. It really makes people think about suicide prevention. And as you put this film together, was there anything in particular that really struck you, either in the aggregate or anything in particular?
There were several things that actually I learned about that I really hadn't known. I mean, I had my own experience. I'm into film. My wife is into film. She's lived with me and lived this, with 50-some years together. And she sees me go through these birth dates and death dates and how I used to just shove it aside and not feel it because I didn't want to feel it. I, figured, okay, I felt enough pain. I'm the emotional body, and the emotional body actually is in control. And if you don't feel it, it's going to manifest somehow. Stomach ache, neck ache. You're just going to feel rotten. So I learned over the years that I really needed to vent my feelings and relive it every time this would happen. So when I hear of someone else's suicide or a suicide attempt, it breaks my heart. Mm-hmm. Because it not just because it resonates with me, but there's such a devastating loss. This is a very unusual kind of death. It's not something that people expect, and it just comes out of the blue. And for instance, with my brother, we had no signs. There was no indication. There was nothing. All these years later, because it was 1965, we still live with that question mark. And, the first reaction was horror and pain. And then there's guilt, wondering, why didn't we see something? Is there something we should have seen? We would have and could have interceded. But there was nothing. So it leaves that question mark open-ended. And, I watched these first responders who are in the military or they're in law enforcement or they're first responders, period, answering phones. And what they go through is just riveting. I mean, you can't imagine, they firefighters see burned bodies of babies. I mean, it's horrendous. And in Palm Beach at one of the fire stations, they've got a room. It's a media room. And I was in there because I went through several citizens academies. And one of the visits that we had took us into this dark room. And the guy said, we just go in here to decompress, to get away from life, to get away from all the stuff that we've seen. So what I've learned is the degree of trauma and horror that they see, that they can't unsee.
Mm-hmm. And, as you talk about this, I think about 9/11. I think about October 7th, what all those people and families who were survived went through, and the hostages and so forth. I think about all of that. And this film, which is so compelling and so emotional, you and your wife and your producer-director did such a fantastic job. I just hope people will take a look at this. And I have it posted now, seethroughthedarkness.org, seethroughthedarkness.org. I hope you folks will really check it out. And Carl Davis is a good guy. Let me tell you, he's relentless, too. He wakes me up every now and then so I remember to do what he wants me to do, and that's a good thing, Carl. always friendly to me whenever I see you. It would never have occurred to me till I saw this, how much you suffered and your family suffered as a result of your brother taking his life. It would never have occurred to me. I guess you go in and out of these moods, don't you, from time to time?
You do, and most times I'm fine. But then again, there are triggers out there, especially when I hear of someone else who has taken their life, and whether it's military, law enforcement, first responder, or civilian. I mean, more than 1 million people a year worldwide take their life. 50,000 alone in America, and 20 times that are the attempts, which are fortunately unsuccessful. But these things shake me to the core when I hear them because I lived it. And it wakes everything up. And it's just, it's very, very difficult. And, making this film was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But
Carl, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming on. I want you folks to please check it out. SeeThroughTheDarkness.org. SeeThroughTheDarkness.org. Even if this hasn't happened in your family or even to people you know, it can happen. It can be very latent and sitting there. God bless you, my friend. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Please thank him.
Yes, it's true that Mark Levin is the fastest growing radio show in America. The Mark Levin Show is on at 877-381-3811.
I'm still thinking about Carl Davis and that interview there and how he lost his brother. He was 16, his brother was 22. They didn't get any inclination that he would take his own life, and he did. Life is very short. And life, honestly, is filled with a ton of tragedies and a ton of challenges. It is. Maybe I'm just a pessimist. I don't mean to be. But I feel like the really happy times, the happiest of happy times, are fewer than the sad times. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Producer? And, but that's very sad. I'm glad Carl came on. He's got this wonderful film, wonderful in the sense that it really is an eye-opener. I want to encourage you to see it and to share it. SeeThroughTheDarkness.org, SeeThroughTheDarkness.org. They want a donation of $5 to try and help people who desperately need help. I know this audience. I know you Levinites. I know you will do exactly that. But it is absolutely worth your time, excuse me, to watch this. Absolutely worth your time to watch this. My wife had a friend, and I'm not going to get into details because I don't know that I can anyway, but a very, very close friend. Married with children and so forth, who took her life, and she still talks about it. Had an enormous impact on her. But apart from her and her friends, an enormous impact on the family. Excuse me. Just a terrible thing. And you probably know people or family members who maybe have attempted to take their lives, or definitely thought about taking their lives, or maybe you're one of them. Yeah. Many people just live with anguish. And what my friend Carl Davis is trying to do is alert as many people as possible to this problem, and it's a big problem. Big problem. I look at this. Mondami pledges to arrest Netanyahu. Now, this is the nature of a thug, a true thug. You're going to arrest the leader of another country who hasn't been convicted of anything? He wants to arrest Netanyahu because he's the prime minister of Israel and he's a Jew. That's why. And he is a Marxist Islamist who supports Hamas. It's that simple. It's that simple. No, he doesn't have the authority to do it. And if he does it, the prime minister can sue him for everything he's worth, and he's worth millions. And of course, the feds can come in too and prosecute him. You can prosecute him for effectively assaulting a foreign leader or false imprisonment, whatever. We'll find the right statute. Maybe it's the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, Mr. Producer. Maybe we'll use that one. So here's Governor Hochul in response to this. Cut 11, go.
Do you agree with Mamdani that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested if he comes to New York?
No, I do not, and the New York City mayor does not have the power to do that.
Oh, but that doesn't stop him. He believes in law and order. The only people he won't arrest are actual criminals. That's who he won't arrest. That's who he won't arrest. Let's see. We have Ayanna Pressley. Ayanna Pressley, you know who she is. She's from Boston. She's a radical left-wing Marxist kook. That's what she is. I think we go to the same barber. Cut 12, Mr. Producer. Go.
But for parents in Gaza, as the weather turns, heavy rainfall and freezing temperatures present new threats. Palestinian families have endured a genocidal campaign for years. Their homes reduced to rubble. Many have no warm jacket to wrap their child in or a dry blanket to tuck them under.
Now, she's never been to Gaza. She's never been to the Nova Festival area. She's never been to the Holocaust Museum. She's never done anything. She's a fraud and a phony. She never said a word when Hamas was slaughtering Palestinians after the quote-unquote ceasefire. Not a word. Nothing. And the brutalization, the torture, the rape, the debauchery, nothing. Nothing. Really, really repulsive, unconscionable. That's what she is. And this is the modern-day Democrat Party. This is all they know. This is all they know. She hasn't said a word about the Christians being slaughtered and raped in the Congo, in the Sudan, in Nigeria. I haven't heard her say anything, certainly not taking a leading role in it. Why is that? Didn't say a damn thing when 600,000 Syrians were murdered by the Assad regime. Nothing. Not a word. 250,000 Yemenites have been murdered by the Houthis. Not a word. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. And of course, she doesn't mention that the Palestinians, so-called, would vote Hamas right back into office. Right back into office. Not a word about the fact that the Israelis were attacked unprovoked. She's just a commie. A commie. That's all she is. As far as she's concerned, the state of Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth. She doesn't give a damn how many people die who are Israelis. It's funny, in a sick way. There are many Arabs in Israel, actually. Christian Arabs, Muslim Arabs, other minorities in Israel who fight in the Israeli army, in the IDF, who want nothing to do with these other countries. Nothing. Nothing at all. Ayanna Pressley on the floor of the House of Representatives yesterday, if you can believe that. I can believe it. Cut 13, go.
Mr. Speaker, in Gaza, children have been murdered as U.S. bombs deployed by the Israeli army have rained down on civilians. Children have been murdered by sniper fire.
No, they haven't. No. You're a liar. You're a gutless, disgusting liar. We don't target children. The Israelis don't target children. The Hamas Palestinians took children, choked them to death, tied them together, burned them alive, stuck one baby in an oven, burned the baby alive. Don't tell us, don't lecture us, you clown. You liar. You know what the Israelis do when they find children who need help? They feed them and they take them to their hospitals. That's what they do. The Hamas Palestinians use their hospitals to defend the Hamas Palestinians. Same with the schools. Ayanna Pressley is a liar and an immoral Immoral reprobate. That's what she is. And she uses the Hamas casualty numbers later in her speech. You know who she sounds like to me, Mr. Producer? Tucker Carlson. They sound exactly the same to me. The Marxist Islamists and the neo-fascists, they sound exactly the same to me. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Let's go to John, Gainesville, Florida, the great WSKY. John, how are you, sir?
Hey, thanks for having my call, Mark. Happy weekend to you. I tell you what, you're spot on about Qatar and Saudi Arabia. They know exactly what they're doing, sinking billions and billions of dollars into the college education system across America, and most of it's going into America's most popular pastime, college football, of course. $10, $15 million to buy a coach you used to get for $1 million 6 to 8 years ago. $300 for a seat in the 50-yard line you used to get for $30 6 years ago. $20 million for the NIL money. And do you think the college kids know about what's going on with the Somali Islamic population in Texas, Minnesota, or what Mandami's doing in New York City? Hell no. But they can tell you what's going on with the college football, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's a sick joke where we're being played. We're being played big time by the Saudis and Qatar.
And what people should start to do is do not use those businesses or those podcasters or those sporting events or whatever, and don't watch those shows that are doing this to us. I mean, we have power. We're being overwhelmed with this foreign money in our country, and it's not friendly foreign money. It's foreign money that is sent here for a purpose. They're not trying to build up our institutions. They're trying to tear them down. And people are getting enormously wealthy off of this, but we, the American people, we are not. Not that that would make it right. But this is a real failing of the ruling class and the elites in business and sports and so forth and so on. John, great call. Have a great weekend. Thank you, my friend. We go to America every Friday in honor of you. Here we go. Mrs. America, how about you join me on Life, Liberty, and Levin Saturday, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Set your DVR tonight. Be a great thing. The week is officially over. The weekend begins now. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel, and you, the American people. Thank God for you. Good night, Spritey and Griffey and Pepsi. Good night, Smokey and Zelda and Gigi. Good night, Indy and Patton and Rory. Good night, Marty and Barney. Good night, Dad. Good night, Mom. Good night, Leo. Good night, Joe. Good night, Bernard. Good night, Teddy. Good night, Lou. We're doing everything we can. Everything we can. And we'll continue to do it. So I'll see you tomorrow night. We have a date, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. See you Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Set your DVR. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow night. God bless.